Hi, I would like to share with you my life story. My name is Bob Heilshorn, and I want to share what Jesus did for me a long time ago in bringing salvation to my life. You see, I grew up as a young child, going to church, involved with a good family, trying to do right things. And I thought as I was growing up that if I would do good, and my good would outweigh my bad, that if I died, I would go to heaven and I would get to be with God. But after high school, I found myself in the Air Force. And while I was in the Air Force, someone actually asked me if I was a Christian. And I said, "Oh, I don't know. What does it take for me to be a Christian?" And the person said, "Do you believe in God?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, then, do you believe in Jesus?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, then you're a Christian." And I said, No, I can't be a Christian, because by the time I got to the Air Force, I knew that my bad was now outweighing my good. And then the person asked me another question. And the question was, have you ever received Jesus Christ as your Savior and Lord? And then he began to share with me a little bit about what it means to know Jesus. And he said that, all of us have sinned and come short of God's glory. And all that sin keeps us from having life with God. But Jesus, he died on a cross. And that's where this red dowel comes in. Jesus died on a cross for me that I might have life with him. And I can remember that night praying and saying, "Jesus, if you are for real, would you come into my life, forgive me of my sin, and help me to move forward in the direction that you would want me to move forward in?" And actually what happened is, and I didn't understand that, but Jesus, who died on a cross, actually covered me. And he forgave me of my sin, and he took all those markings out of my life, and he made me pure again, that I might walk with him and begin to do the things that he wants me to do. And I began to move forward and began to read my Bible and began to pray and began to go to church. And all of that came about. My life began to change. I began to see more love and joy and peace and patience in my life. But the good news is that now I actually live in God's presence. You see, David said, in his presence is the fullness of joy. So as I go through life today in this broken world, and believe me, it's broken, and I have experienced a lot of hurt and pain in life. But in the middle, that's what surrounds me, and I'm right here in the middle, is God. And God gives me the strength and the power and the courage to move on. But the good news is that one day I know that when I die, I'll live forever with him. Have you ever experienced salvation that way before? Have you ever put your faith and trust in Jesus Christ to allow yourself to be in God's nest, living for his purpose? Thank you for listening to my story.